Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are in this crazy world we're living in. So I've got so much to talk to you about this morning, so many things to catch up on. You know, work and life keep getting in the way. There's just not enough hours in the day, and many times, you know, I want to come on and do a live, and I just don't have the time. So I'm putting it all together, all the things I want to catch up on, all the new things, all together in this video, and then later I will be editing the video and splitting them off into smaller videos, because this will probably be a lengthy video. But I have classes, Spanish, for those of you who don't know, I'm a Spanish teacher in my other life. And yeah, I've got classes later, so I can't go on indefinitely, unfortunately, because I like chatting to you all. And yeah, some, obviously there's always always negative news, but there are some positives, I think, in the news that I've got for you this morning. So first of all, thank you to everyone, all my subscribers, all my members, anyone who's liked, shared a video, sent me a super chat, bought me a Ko-fi. Those things really help support my channel. And those who've sent nice emails, left positive messages, all of you that care about the people we talk about in these videos. So we develop a relationship with them. One of the cases that I'm going to talk about today, Rachel Morin, you know, which is a trial that's just beginning. You know, we've been talking about Rachel for nearly 2 years, really. So we feel like we have a relationship with them. You know, also some of Rachel's family have been on the chat, etc. And, you know, you do feel like you know them, even though you don't know them, because we've talked about them for so long. We've, you know, not just in Rachel's case, but in other cases. So Rachel's case now is coming to a conclusion. The trial is just beginning. We're going to talk about that anyway. So that's not the first thing. We're going to save that more to the end. I'm going to start off with the maybe more negative things first, and then hopefully finish on a little bit of positivity to set you up for the morning or the afternoon or the evening. Okay, so let me take my banner off now. Now I'm actually going to, so the things that I'm going to talk about today, first of all, I'm going to talk about one that I didn't even get to put on the thumbnail, that I forgot to put on the thumbnail, which is this news that's coming out about Virginia, is it Guthrie, who, the person who exposed Prince Andrew, isn't it? And she, unfortunately, is really quite poorly, and in fact released a post to say that she's likely to be dead within 4 days. So that's what we're going to look at first. Let me just find it's a surname that I'm not sure of. Yeah, Guthrie. Virginia Guthrie. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's what we're going to look at first. And as I say, I even didn't get a chance to put that on the actual thumbnail of all things. But anyway, we're going to talk about her first. Then we're going to talk about this awful news about a young girl, I think she's 10 years old, who's fallen into the River Thames in the UK, and the search is going on for her. We're then going to talk about the fake Madeleine Mc Cann and her sidekick, Karen Sprague, who've appeared in courts. And then we're going to talk about Rachel Morin and the trial that's starting. And then finally, we're going to talk about Mick Phillpott, who, for those of you who don't know about him, actually killed 6 of his own children, and is in prison, and he's been attacked in prison. So we're going to finish on a positive note. Going to finish on a high, because it's nice to hear that he's been attacked in prison. I mean, we talk about a lot of evil people on this channel because it's a channel where we talk about true crime. And Mick Phillpott, I don't think I've ever actually done a deep dive on Mick Phillpott and what happened there, and I'm probably will be doing one. He's probably one of the most evil people ever. You know, you kill 6 of your own children because you wanted a bigger house. Anyway, I'll explain what happened later. So those are the things we're going to talk about. Very first of all, though, I want to say hello to all you who are watching at home, you lurkers. Hi to replay crew. And now I'm going to say hi to those who are brave enough to venture into the chat. Good morning, Tracy. I think it is morning for you, isn't it? Yeah. Morning, Tracy. Morning, Angel. So if you're watching at home, don't be scared to come into the chat. We don't bite. You know, you're free to give your opinion, whatever it is, about anything, as long as it's respectful and as long as it's not attacking somebody else or the families of victims, etc. Just be respectful, that's all. Don't argue. Don't be nasty to anyone, including me. And yeah, but please come into the chat. So let's start with this about Virginia. So very worrying, you know, for this lady. So this is Virginia. And of course, Virginia was the girl. She's 41 years old now, but she was just a young girl when she was photographed in that infamous photo with Prince Andrew. Here it is. See if we can see it a bit closer up. Don't know if we can. Anyway, oh, there it is. So this is the infamous photo. I have to watch a little. There's a little video here. We'll watch this, I think. Yeah, so do you remember this photo with Ghislaine Maxwell in the background? You know, let's go. It's really only the photo I wanted to look at. And there was Andrew. And Virginia was 17 years old at the time. And it's her claims and this photographic evidence that she had that, you know, she had been sold in a way to Prince Andrew. He said he was having pizza, didn't he, or something with his kids. I mean, he just lied about it, full stop. You know, instead of just admitting that he was on that photo, said the photos are Photoshop and this, that, and the other. He came out with a whole load of old rubbish, didn't he, about it all, that nobody believed, and that was really. So she was significant in the fall from grace for Prince Andrew, and also for Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, etc. So she was very important in this case. Now, but what's happened to her, apparently, and I don't know about you, but the first thing I thought was, who's done this to her? But she says that she has only days to live after a serious car accident. So she's released a photo of her in hospital. It's not on there. Why, I don't know. But she's released a photo of her covered in bruises. Looks like she's in a hospital bed. She's been living in Australia, and she said she had collided with a school bus. And I've got to say, first thing I thought of was, you know, who paid that bus driver? You know, I don't know if that's true, obviously, you know, allegedly. But it's funny, isn't it, that people that go against the royal family, sometimes they end up getting in these accidents. You know, like Princess Diana, etc. And it just makes you wonder, doesn't it? If, you know. Anyway, I'm sure if she felt there was anything suspicious, she would have said that. So Virginia Giuffre One of Jeffrey Epstein's most prominent accusers has said she is in hospital following a serious accident. She posted on Instagram that she had suffered a kidney failure after a car collided with a school bus, and stated that doctors had given her 4 days to live and were transferring her to a specialist hospital. And her spokesperson said Virginia has been in a serious accident and is receiving medical care in the hospital. She greatly appreciates the support and well wishes people are sending. And Miss Giuffre said this year had been the worst, alongside a photograph from a hospital bed showing visible bruising. And she said that the crash was so severe, her car might as well be a tin can. And she said, I'm ready to go. She's only 41. She can't be ready to go, surely. Just not until I see my babies one last time, she said, referring to her 3 children. So she'd been recently living with her children and her husband, Robert, in the suburb of North Perth, Australia. Though recent reports suggest the couple have split after 22 years of marriage. She was only 19 when she married this man. It remains unclear where and when the crash occurred, and both the Western Australia Police and ambulance services told the BBC they had no records of such an accident happening in recent weeks. So the police later specified they had located reports of a minor crash between a bus and a car on the 24th of March, but that no injuries had been reported as a result. It's very mysterious, isn't it? Do you think she's doing it for attention? Do you think if she's separate, sometimes people who separate from their partners do crazy things, like just to try and bring them back, to them, like make them worry about them? So Prince Andrew denied all claims. Now, what we must remember is Prince Andrew denied all the claims, but he reached an out-of-court settlement with her. So it makes, why did he do that? Do you reach an out-of-court settlement with someone who you haven't done anything to, And the settlement included a statement in which he expressed regret for his association with Epstein, but contained no admission of liability or apology. So yeah, it was very strange that he did that. Right, let's see if I can find this actual photo that she's released. See, I don't like these things, I don't know if you know, but on social media, there's quite a lot of people put on these end of life videos or videos of when they're ill or this, I just don't like that. But anyway, each to their own. But they pop up at you on, there it is. Trust the Daily Mail to have it on there. They pop up on social media, TikTok especially. Here's the photo. Ooh, it's jumping about, sorry. Yeah, so she looks quite sort of bashed up. God. Why does it keep doing this? Sorry. Look, it's taking me to TikTok now. For whatever reason I'm trying to... There you go. So, yeah, she looks like she's been in the wars, as my dad would have said, in the wars. This is the photo that she released. Let me just make sure you can see it okay. Yeah. And then, yeah. I mean, she's definitely, well, is she in a hospital bed? Presume she is. But who would release a photo like that? I mean, she's got a lot of bruises on there. This again was that photo. Prince Andrew with his arm round her, but he said he'd never met her. But then he settled out of court. So Lady Victoria Harvey, who dated the disgraced Prince Andrew in 1999, took to Instagram to claim karma had reached. Do you know what, bitch? She said if Virginia really does have days to live, then a complete confession is needed. Without evidence, the socialite wrote, I don't believe it though. The FBI are on her right now and arrest warrants are coming. She's conveniently dying to evade jail. I don't believe that at all. I think maybe what she's doing is trying to get her husband to rush to her side or whatever, if she's doing anything. I think it's time that Robert Guthrie, so apparently he has custody of their teenage children. Again, this is what this woman says. I don't know if that's true. I know he knows the truth of the fake photo and all her con jobs. She is the queen of the fake photo. However, her spokesperson said Virginia has been in a serious accident and is receiving medical care. Is this her with her husband? So what she's trying to say is, look at that karma. I mean, what a horrible thing. You know, even if it's true, I don't know. Well, I don't think for a minute she photoshopped that photo. But even if it was true, is that really necessary? What if she does die? Her father has offered help from America. This is her father, Sky Roberts. Oh, look at him. Oh, he'll be loving it. I wonder how much he paid. Dear. You know, we know Prince Andrew, when he made his interview with Emily Maitland, that was what ruined Prince Andrew, really. It wasn't even what Virginia was saying. It's when he tried to do that interview and came over so false and such a liar that's when everybody started believing Virginia. So, you know, that's his own fault. It wasn't to do with Virginia. He was, he was so blatantly lying. So she alleged she was trafficked for sex at age 16 after his associate and ex-lover, Ghislaine Maxwell, recruited her from her job as a locker room attendant at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort in Palm Beach, Florida. But they eventually received an undisclosed settlement over a defamation case in 2017. And then, of course, Mr. Epstein conveniently took his own life in the jail cell in 2019 while he was awaiting trial. Whereas Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell, she's been jailed for 20 years in 2022. So she's got, she won't be coming out for a long time. Whereas Andrew is free, of course, but he's persona non grata in the royal household, isn't he? So, and he hasn't got mummy to protect him anymore because he's supposedly, remember this, let's have a look.
She says she met you in 2001. She dined with you. She danced with you.
Look at his face.
You bought her drinks. You were in Tramp nightclub in London. And she went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Didn't happen.
Do you remember her?
No. I have no recollection of ever meeting her. I'm almost, in fact, I'm convinced that I was never in trance with her.
No, never in trance, maybe. And this was the post she made on Instagram. This year has been the worst start to a new year, but I won't bore anyone with the details.
Emotional reaction is like, until I see him actually getting to, face the music about any of this. I honestly feel like, more than likely somebody's going to get away with it,
Anyway,
he's
this year
royalty,
has been the worst start to a new year, but I won't bore anyone with the details. But I think it's important to note that when the school bus driver comes at you driving 110 kilometers,
I hope he does end up
we
having
were
to face
slowing for a turn,
everything that he's accused
but
of.
no matter what your car is made of, it might as well be a tin can.
I will say
kidney renal failure. They've
outside
given
the
me 4
courtroom,
days to live.
what I've already
Transferring
said
me
in
to a
legal
specialist
papers.
hospital in
He's
urology.
met
I'm
Virginia
ready to go,
Dupre.
just not
I
till
know
I've seen my babies.
I'm willing to say that
So
outside
then
the
she ended
courthouse,
up saying,
subject to
thank you
laws
all
of
for being the
defamation,
wonderful people of
because
the
it's
world and
true.
for being a great part of
She
my life. God
has
bless
never
you
been
all,
willing
Virginia.
to say.
So this is, I've got something on here, I don't know why. Ah, there you go. So yeah, what do we think? What do we think about that? Let me know in comments what you think about Virginia. Do you think that, you know, she is a faker, a grandstander? You know, what's this all about? Is she likely to die within 4 days, or is it just attention seeking? I wonder. Okay, so that, even though it wasn't on the thumbnail, that was something that I wanted to talk about. So now, a very serious story of an awful story that's coming out about this girl, a young girl, 10 years old, I believe, who apparently has fallen into the River Thames. Let's have a look. Let me share this. As usual, I've got all these windows open, so I have to take my little, so many things to talk about this morning. Gosh. So this newspaper is, I think, the North Woolwich, My London. So 11-year-old girl falls into the River Thames. So it's very strange because it says the girl was paddling in the Thames when she went missing, locals say. So this is in London, of course, in the UK, in the Thames River. An 11-year-old girl is still missing after falling into the Thames on Monday afternoon, March 31st. Helicopters, rescue boats, police boats were circling the Thames around Barge House Causeway, North Woolwich, where she entered the water while paddling. The fire brigade, paramedics and lifeboat crews have been stood down, but Met Police have not yet issued an update. So the search initially began at 1:15 p.m. So this was yesterday. The girl's next of kin have been told and are being supported as the incident continues. A mother said she tried, not her mother, but a mother said she carried a life ring to the Thames shoreline to try and save an 11-year-old girl who had entered the water, but she was unable to find the child. And lifelong area resident Kerry Benajoud, 62, told the PA news agency, my neighbour next door, she was outside doing her garden and there were 2 little kids running and they said, my friend's in the water. And the neighbour called Mrs. Benajoud, who then said she went to pick up a nearby life ring. The 2 women live on a residential street that leads onto Barge House Causeway, a concrete slope that goes directly into the River Thames and is used to transport boats. A man told Mrs. Benajoud that he had called the police, and she said, adding, but he said at the time he could see the girl's hands going down. So by the time I got down there with the ring, I couldn't find her. Bless. A young boy who'd been playing with a girl near the River Thames claimed he tried to hold her hand after she entered the water, but it slipped. Miss Benajoud said she took her life ring to the water's edge in a bid to rescue the girl, who had been on a day off school when the incident occurred. She said the little boy turned round and said, I tried to hold her hand, but it slipped. I said to the little boy's parents, obviously he needs to see someone because it's going to affect him later. The boy was about 8 or 9 years old, she added. Apparently she was paddling, so her socks and shoes were off her coat, and then she must have slipped and gone down. And Miss Benajoud said she found shoes a sock, a coat, and a phone near the river and handed the items to the police. So there's not been, as far as I know, so far this morning, there's been no updates. But let's just hope. Let's hope and pray for some good news. But it's horrible, isn't it? An 11-year-old girl falling into the river. Honestly, I've got an absolute phobia of rivers now, all the things that we've talked about rivers. Anyway, that's all I know about that so far. So I'm going to go on to the next story. Let me see, or the next thing that I thought you would find interesting that I wanted to talk about. And this is the fake Madeleine Mc Cann. She keeps popping up, doesn't she? Julia Wendeltz. So she's appeared in court again, along, as I say, with her sidekick, Karen Sprague, who's 62 and should know better. So fake Madeleine Mc Cann is denied bail. So this is really what happened. She appeared in court, I think it was on Friday, with Karen Sprague, and for some reason, much as I don't believe for a minute that Julia is Madeleine Mc Cann, I do believe she should be stopped from stalking the McCann family. But I'm not. I thought it was quite sort of, dramatic to keep her in prison. Is that really right? Stalking's a terrible thing. I know that more than anybody. I was stalked years ago. It's horrible. Can't even explain how it feels. It's very scary. You feel very vulnerable, and I'm not against her being arrested for stalking. And just seems a bit dramatic keeping her in prison, but she's probably a flight risk because, of course, she doesn't live in the UK. She lives in Poland. She's going all the way to the UK to do her stalking. She landed at Bristol Airport and was immediately arrested, along with Karen Sprague, who was then released, but since then she's been charged. But she is not being held in custody, maybe because she is a UK resident, I suppose. And they don't think that she's a flight risk, whereas Julia is a flight risk, of course. So Julia is charged or accused of, and charged with, I think, Kate, Jerry, Sean and Amelie. So not only Kate and Jerry, but the twins, between January the 3rd, 2024 and February the 15th this year. And there she is, of course, she's all over social media. She's got her little fan base as well. She's got YouTubers who, just use her for clicks on their platforms. I feel for Julia. I think she's definitely got some mental health issues, but she's just got to pack it in. That's what I think. This part of me doesn't understand why the McCanns don't just do a DNA test and just get it over with. But I think I know the answer to that, because they sort of want the mystery to continue, really, in a way. But I think, you know what I think, my opinion, Jerry and Kate know exactly that Julia is not their daughter. They don't need to do a DNA test. But though the DNA tests that have been done so far do not prove that she is Madeleine. She's not Madeleine. She just isn't. And but anyway, there you go. There's people out there who think she is or she might be, and everyone's got their views. So a 23-year-old Polish national accused of stalking the family of Madeleine Mc Cann has been refused bail. So she's been refused bail. She made an unsuccessful 15-minute bail appeal through a lawyer acting on her behalf in an application at Leicester Crown Court on Friday. Now, the judge has ruled that no details from the bail application can be reported, and trial is prepared for April the 22nd. And I think they're both going to be tried both her and Karen, very unfortunate name, but perhaps appropriate, Karen Sprague, they're going to be tried together, I think, or on the same day, on April the 22nd. We're going to have a look at Karen now in a minute. So Wandel from Lubin in southwest Poland, and also known as Julia Wandelt, did not attend the hearing in prison, but is understood to have followed the proceedings via a prison video link. So this is previous artist impressions of her. So yeah, she's accused of stalking Kate, Jerry, Sean and Amelie between January the 3rd, 2024 and February the 15th, 2025. And she's alleged to have attended the family home in Leicestershire on May the 2nd and December the 7th last year. Oh, so they're living in Leicestershire now. So, or maybe they always were, I don't know. But I don't know where they live. I don't want to know where they live. She should not go to their home because people should feel safe in their home. So she's also accused of sending a letter, calls, voicemails and WhatsApp messages to Kate and Jerry McCann and sending Amelie and Sean Instagram messages between January the 3rd and December 29th last year. So meanwhile, this 60-year-old woman was due to appear on Friday as well, charged as part of an investigation. So let's have a look at her. I think she's going ahead to trial, but as far as I know, she has not been remanded in custody. Now we're going to see on this video, she took a bag with her just in case. So she was obviously not sure whether she would be remanded in custody or not. And just one thing I want to say, we've seen the way she's dressed. I don't know, maybe I'm old-fashioned, though she's similar age to me. You go to court dressed like that in Crocs and a pink tracksuit. I mean, come on. You're going to court, woman. And there she is. I wonder if she's sorry now about the stalking. I just can't imagine what would possess someone to go to their house. Whatever you think about the McCanns, of course, they were wrong to leave 3 kids on their own. Whatever you think about what happened to Madeleine, why would you go to somebody? Look, she looks like she's in her pajamas. Looks like she's off to bed. Going to court. No, is it me? It's just, old-fashioned. Hang on. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned. But to me, you go to court, you dress, respectfully. God, these bloody things keep coming up. Hang on. Yeah, it just looks like she's, taking the dog for a walk or just about to go to bed or, in your just at home, like watching Netflix. The state of it in the Crocs and everything. Is it me being old-fashioned, or do I, why hasn't she got some proper smart clothes on if she's going to court? Anyway, she's going to face. I don't think she was remanded in custody, though she took a bag with her just in case. By the look of it, got a spare pair of Crocs in there. See, I can't feel sorry for these because the thing is, they've courted attention. They want attention. They've stalked the McCanns. Now they're getting a little bit of taste of what it's like to get some negative attention. And again, whatever you think about the McCanns, don't think about the McCanns. They've certainly had a lot of unwarranted attention over the years. Madeleine is probably the most famous missing person case ever. Everybody knows about Madeleine McCann. Don't matter which part of the world you're in, people know about her. And the McCanns have sort of gone through that, and then they've got these fools, you know, going round to their house. Wonder if she had her pajamas on then and her Crocs. Honestly, just to me, you don't appear in court like that. Anyway, but she's she's not like me, so, and I'm not like her, thank God. It's like she couldn't be bothered getting ready. That's me when I'm walking the dogs, definitely. That's definitely me when I'm walking the dogs. So that was the other thing I wanted to tell you about, that's an ongoing story. 22nd of April will probably be when we get the next update. I think the thing is, Julie Wendell, she just went too far in the end, didn't she? She all this claiming she was Madeleine. And, you know, to be fair to her, I think she was hung out to dry by YouTubers who've just, you know, with this sort of figurative assault, just passing her around, like using her to tell her story, to get them clicks, etc., to get them views. And not really caring about Julia. If you really cared about Julia, you would say to her she needs to go and get some help. She is not Madeleine Mc Cann. She's pretended to be several different people. Madeleine Mc Cann wasn't the first one, but she's just gone with that because that's given her the most notoriety, hasn't it, than the others. So, Hi, Daniel. Hi, Daniel. Oh, the world's mad, isn't it? It's just, there's a lot of serious things obviously happening, but things like this, you just think there are a lot of, it's just, you can never underestimate people and the things that they will do, and say, oh, no, because you wouldn't do it. You can't imagine why someone's done something. There are a lot of Fruit Loops out there, unfortunately. Okay, so what we're going to talk about now. So we're going to talk about Rachel Morin's trial now. So this, I think we're coming up to something a bit more positive, or hopefully will end up positively with justice for Rachel. Now, Rachel's case, we have followed from the very beginning, really. Rachel disappeared, went missing, if you like, in August, not last year, but the year before, but was found the very next day. Let's put Rachel's picture up, actually. Put Rachel's picture up. Take that other thing down. So this is Rachel Morin. And Rachel was a mother of 5. And this is a very glamorous picture of Rachel, but I'm going to put because she liked to post photos on her social media. She was very beautiful and apparently beautiful inside and out. And she, disappeared. She went for a walk in the evening in the Morin Trail. This was in Maryland in the USA, and she just never went home. And so the alarm was sent out for her. And when the police went, not only the police, but a lot of people searched the trail where she'd gone missing, her body was found in a storm drain, and she'd been brutally attacked in an sex way and then murdered brutally again. I think there's going to be very distressing details come out in the trial. I think it will be a nightmare for her family, her 5 children. So she has 5 children. One of those children, Faye, has had a child herself last year, just before Christmas, sort of in the autumn. And, so Rachel never got to see that granddaughter. Well, I say, and I always say, though, I think she would have seen that granddaughter in the pre-life, because there was a time when Rachel had passed from this world and the granddaughter was, preparing for this world. I'm sure that they had some interaction there on the next plane, and Rachel will be looking over that granddaughter as she'll be looking over all her children, 5 children, and their lives were just ripped apart because, you know, they were living with Rachel, and then they had to be separated because they didn't all have the same father. So although, you know, I'm sure they're fine and, you know, they've been looked after and they've been loved, they were used to living all together, and that was wrecked as well. And it was all wrecked by this man. Now, we followed, I call him Victor the Viper, and it caused a lot of stir in the USA because he was an illegal immigrant. And it turned out he'd also committed what was a similar crime, except he never got the chance to actually kill that person in Los Angeles. And that is how they caught Victor the Viper, because his DNA was linked from the attack where he left his cat behind in Los Angeles, and his DNA was traced, linked to this incident in Maryland, which actually is right over the other side of the country. So that's when it, you know, it became clear that this man had the wherewithal or the ability to travel massive distances right from one side of America to the other. And the other thing, he's from El Salvador. He's an illegal immigrant from El Salvador. Apparently, he tried 3 times to get over the border and failed. And on the final time, he tried again, but not legally. I mean, you know, it's important to say he sneaked over the border. So it's unclear that, you know, that could have been stopped, if you like, unless they literally do put up a great big wall. So there's been a lot of talk about that. You know, there've been a couple of high-profile cases involving illegal immigrants that have committed terrible crimes. Lake and Riley, of course, we covered her perpetrator's trial. I can't even remember his name, and that's how it should be now, because he's received life imprisonment, though he is appealing it. And so these were high-profile cases that Donald Trump made a lot of, you know, when it came to the elections, etc., that he was going to stop all this illegal immigration, etc. The other scandalizing thing about Victor the Viper is even in his, you know, in his home country in El Salvador, he had already killed a woman. So this man was a fledgling serial killer, no doubt. So he'd killed a woman in his own country. He'd attacked a young girl, brutally attacked, and only that he was disturbed in the act that maybe that girl is still alive now. He'd done that in Los Angeles, and then he'd gone all the way over to Maryland, where it's thought that maybe he had some family or some acquaintances. I presume that'll all come out in the trial. There's a lot of questions about this case, a lot of mysteries that hopefully will come out in the trial. And did this to Rachel. Now, when they caught him, which was a long time after, I mean, he'd been free for a long time before he was finally caught in, I think it was Oklahoma, was it? Oklahoma. And he was working, you know, he was working as like a builder, construction worker type thing. I know his boss was absolutely scandalized, you know, that this man had been working in his company. This man who'd killed 2 women, brutally attacked a young girl, and who knows what else he's done. Maybe he's done other things. You know, had gone to work there for him. You know, it must be awful. Imagine them finding out that you'd been working alongside this absolute twonk. Let's put the picture of Rachel back up because it's much nicer to look at than him. Yeah, imagine finding out you've been working alongside this person. When the police, we watched the video of his arrest. It's loaded up on my channel somewhere. He was just sat in a bar having a drink. Do you know? He's like, like any normal person, like he didn't have a care in the world, like he wasn't a double murderer and a serial sex offender. It was terrible. But anyway, they tracked him down. And one of the ways that they tracked this Victor down was through genealogy, testing. So that will all come out in the trial. The way his DNA was traced, and then members of his family volunteered his clothing for further testing. And anyway, finally, he was caught. It was hallelujah. And now it's taken all this time he's put his trial off. He's tried to get the venue changed because he says he won't get a fair trial in Maryland. Well, he won't get what you might call a fair trial anyway, because this case is a national case, an international high-profile case. So people know about this case all over America. So if he's saying he won't get a fair trial in Maryland because people know about him, well, people know about him all over America. So, and as far as the family were concerned, they wanted it in Maryland. They don't want to have to travel to another state to go and listen to all these awful details. Now, one thing that surprised me is it's only 2 weeks it's planned to last, which it's not long, is it, for this? But I do think it's a bit of a slam dunk case. This guy, I don't know what the defence are going to come up with. I don't think he's got any defence whatsoever. What defence can he have? There's DNA linking him to there. There's so much evidence against him. I don't see why he hasn't gone for a plea deal or whatever. Maybe he will do that in the end. Anyway, the trial's just began, and jury selection, I think, has finished now, or that was yesterday. And today, let's have a look at this news report and we'll see what's going on today. Got to get some of these put down, these windows, while we're watching this. So yeah, trial starts. Oh, that's Matt. Oh, we might watch that in a minute as well. That's Matt is the father of Rachel's oldest child. We'll have a look at that.
And that has captured national attention, and today all eyes are once again on Harford County as the long-awaited trial begins for the man accused of raping and killing a Bel Air mother of 5. Olivia Dan's joining us live from right outside the courthouse with a preview of today's pretrial hearing that's getting underway here as we speak. Olivia?
Tom, the pretrial motions are expected to start momentarily just behind us here at the Circuit Courthouse in Bel Air. Most of the media outlets are still outside right now, so it doesn't appear that the pretrial motions have started yet. But again, they are scheduled for 9:30 this morning. Starting at around 5:30, we saw an increased police presence in this area. They also closed off the roads, and then concrete barriers have already been set up outside the perimeter of the courthouse ahead of this trial. Now, jury selection is set to start tomorrow, and then trial is tentatively scheduled right now for April 1st to the 16th. Rachel Morin's murder rocks the nation, and this week the spotlight will be back on Harford County as a trial for Victor Martinez Hernandez begins. Hernandez is accused of raping and murdering the Bel Air mother of 5 and stashing her body in a storm drain.
So that's today that the trial starts officially. So this, where the police are riding here, this is the trail, the Morin trail, as a result of what happened to Rachel. I mean, it's a trail where people go walking, families. Rachel had walked there ever since she was a child, with her family, and then later on as an adult and with her kids. And, since then they have put security cameras up, etc. But of course it's too late for Rachel. But, just terrible that it's thought that he laid in wait just off the path, and then, either he lured Rachel off the path or he got hold of Rachel and dragged her off the path. Is not clear. Again, this will come out in the trial, I suppose.
More than a year and a half ago, Morin went for a run on the Ma and Pa Trail, which is a popular path here in Harford County, but unfortunately, she never returned home. And according to those close to Morin, the prosecution is expected to call Morin's then boyfriend and 2 older daughters to the stand. They will be the first.
Now, they made a great play of extraditing him back to Maryland. This is, he arrived on like a little plane. It reminded me of, if you've ever seen the film Silence of the Lambs, when Hannibal Lecter gets moved from one state to another. It just reminded me of that. They made a big show of it. Do you know what I mean? Of the plane coming in, landing, them taking him out of the plane, marching him off, because they'd looked for him for so long. And I think all the police, remember Sheriff Jeff, my sheriff, they felt this personally, this case, more than any other, I think, because they'd look, because Rachel could have been anybody's daughter, anybody's mother, anybody's sister, just, walking the trail like she'd done for years and years and years. And this man, literally snatched her, abused her, and then murdered her. And I think there's a lot of high feelings about it, and they take it personally, and you could see that. I don't know how he's been treated in prison. Badly, I hope. I can't help but hope that. But of course, he's a whinger. Do you know what I mean? He's one of them. He's all for his rights. His rights for this, his rights for that. He's got all these rights, according to him, but apparently women don't have any rights, and not the right to walk freely and not feel terrified that somebody's going to do something terrible to them. Anyway, there he is. So his trial will start today. And I just can't wait to hear his sentence. I shouldn't say that. He's got to be found guilty first, but I just don't know what his defense are even going to come up with.
First to testify, and they were some of the last people to speak to Morin when she was alive.
I see this as an opportunity to stand up for Rachel, defend her.
Oh, here he is, Matthew.
Stand up for themselves. So for them, I feel that it's extremely healing to be part of the process.
As for Hernandez, he has a lot stacked against him, like DNA tying him to Morin's murder and a California home invasion and assault. The defense already fears there's a tainted jury pool. Their request for a change of venue, though, was denied by a judge back in January. Legal expert Europsy Morgan was on Fox 45 News yesterday to weigh in on this case and the defense and prosecution's possible strategies.
I think this is going to be a very emotional case. To hear the stories and the testimony of people who knew the victim so well, I think it's definitely going to play into that strategy.
So again, we are still waiting for those pretrial motions to begin. They are scheduled to start momentarily at 9:30. And then the Ma and Pa Trail that I mentioned, that is where Rachel Morin was murdered. That's only about half a mile from where we're standing here outside of the courthouse. Ever since her murder, that trail has definitely increased security. It is now lined with security cameras covering almost every corner of.
Yeah, so there's now security cameras everywhere on that trail. Anyway, I will be covering that as it goes along. Justice for Rachel. I think we're going to get justice for Rachel. Just can't wait to see him sentenced. And as far as I feel for the family now, because these next 2 weeks, hearing all the details, it's obviously hard what they've gone through already, but having to sit through the details, that was something he could have done to save the family all that pain. Would have been to plead guilty, but of course no, he's not going to plead guilty. He's going to hang it out right till the end. But he's got no bargaining chips. He's got no bargaining chips. So yeah, I don't think they've got the death penalty there. I think it'd be life imprisonment. The sheriff Jeff Gaylor, he said he wanted him to get life imprisonment, and he wanted him to stay in Maryland because, of course, he's still got the murder in his own country, in El Salvador, to account for, and he's still got the home invasion and RAPE of a young girl in Los Angeles, but Sheriff Gaylor wants him to stay in Maryland because he wants to know where he is and, you know he's there and he's not going to be released. Nothing's going to happen. So I hope he does stay there. And it's a small comfort, isn't it, to the family to know he's there. He's locked up. He can't ever hurt anyone again. It's a cold comfort, one of those cold comforts, just like getting your loved one's body back rather than never knowing what happened to them or where they are. It's a cold comfort, but it's some comfort. And this family, they need all the comfort they can get after what they've been through. The kids are suffering. Of course they're suffering, losing their mum like that. Just awful. But anyway, so I will keep you updated on that, and hopefully within the couple of weeks. I do think that's quite a short trial, isn't it? We've seen some trials that makes me think in a positive way, if you like, because the defence hasn't got a defence. Trials get protracted when there's a bit of sort of, the defence can present things and try and make it look like their client didn't do it. But I just don't know what this defence is going to come up with. But I will keep you posted. Okay, so that's Rachel. God bless Rachel. And what we're going to look at now is we're going to look at some positive news, because this is a case that I followed right from the very beginning. This case sort of, look at this one. Yeah, this lady, though we didn't know who she was then, this is the facial reconstruction that was done of a body that was found in Chorlton Water Park. Now, this is in Manchester, in the UK, for people who don't know. And the reason why right from the beginning, when I saw this case, I reported on it, apart from the fact it's an unidentified person, because originally there was no photo fit. There was just details of the clothing that had been found on a woman who'd been found in Chorlton Water Park. Now, I was born in Chorlton. I lived in Chorlton for maybe 19, 20 years and maybe more. And I used to walk there a lot where this woman was found. So immediately, it's like the thought of a body being found there in this water park and unidentified. Wonder if I can get up the clothes that they were showing. So first of all, the thing is, the only reason I'm looking for this, because they were distinctive clothes. Yeah, let's see if I can find the photo of them. Yeah. Now, do you remember this? Remember when I showed this particularly, you would remember this lime green sort of boob tube or bodice type thing. Apparently it was a Primani top, and that was very distinctive, because I remember thinking at the time, gosh, surely, if your sister or your friend or your girlfriend or anyone came out with you in that, you would remember it, wouldn't you? I mean, it's distinctive. It's not only a little bit distinctive, because obviously maybe it's not distinctive because of the type of clothing it is. People wear things like that in the summer, but the colour. Of course you would remember if your family member had worn that, wouldn't you? That's how it struck me straight away. I couldn't believe she hadn't been identified, because it just seemed. So then it made you wonder, was it, an SEX worker or somebody who was sort of fallen off the grid or whatever? Because how could somebody not remember their loved one wearing that? So I remember thinking that. And then they released the sort of ID photo, what do you call it, identikit or whatever it is photo. Let's have a look at that again, closer up. So then eventually they made like this reconstruction of what this woman, this poor unfortunate soul, looked like. And that's how she's been identified. But do you know what is really, really worrying to me? She had been reported missing. She had been reported missing. So why was her identity not found sooner? Why was her DNA not tested against missing, women that had been reported missing of a similar age, etc.? I don't understand that. Anyway, I'm sure it'll all come out in the wash. So it turns out it's this lady, bless her, Laura Stanley. Now, although I don't think she looks really, really like that, you can see in the cheekbones, like she seemed to have those dimples. Anyway, a family member recognised from that reconstruction Laura Stanley. God rest Laura. Discovered in the River Mersey near Chorlton Water Park on the 21st of March last year. So it's taken a year to identify this woman. Now, I would understand that if she hadn't been reported missing, but apparently she was reported missing. So I don't understand why she's not been identified before. Anyway, a woman whose body was found in a river was identified after a relative recognised the reconstruction of her face. Laura Stanley, 38, bless her, was found in the River Mersey near Chorlton Water Park on the 21st of March 2024. Greater Manchester Police brought in facial reconstruction experts from Liverpool, John Moores University, to produce an image of how Miss Stanley, originally from Derbyshire but living in Stockport. I know Stockport so well. I've got so many family living in Stockport. And that's actually when number one son went back briefly to live in the UK, or say went back. He was born in the UK, to be fair, but that's where he lived, in Stockport. I stayed there a few times with him. And in a tribute, her family described her as kind and gentle mother with a great sense of fun and adventure. So she's left children behind as well. So the university's face lab created the reconstruction, which helped one of Miss Stanley's relatives recognise her. And then a DNA match to a family member was made. Paying tribute to her, Miss Stanley's family said she was generous, thoughtful, caring, and always keen to volunteer within the community. Look, what happened? What happened to Laura? I mean, is this going to be a case of someone unaliving themselves, or is this going to be a case of foul play? Laura was a proud and loving mum, and she will be greatly missed by her girls and all of her friends and family who loved her dearly. What happened to Laura? Anyway, Greater Manchester Police said it was continuing to investigate her last movements, the events that led to her death, and the discovery of her body in the river. The force believes she was last seen in January 2024. So it's a year. But she was reported missing. I tell you, the police they've missed it. They've found a body in the water. They've got a woman who's been reported missing, and they haven't linked it up. So Detective Inspector Louise Edwards said, "We will now continue to investigate Laura's last movements and how she ultimately came to be discovered in the River Mersey just over a year ago. There are answers her family deserve, and we will be keeping them updated as we carry out this work." And Greater Manchester Police added that the Professional Standards Directorate are reviewing a previous missing persons report relating to Miss Stanley and whether the force followed it up properly. No, you didn't. They didn't follow it up properly. There was a body there of a woman found near Stockport. Chorlton is not far from Stockport, and you've got a missing person from Stockport, and it wasn't linked. Yeah, it makes me angry. That it makes it. People. The worth of people is just not respected in society, is it? It's got a body of a young woman. You've got a missing persons report of a woman, similar age, similar area, and they're not linked. So it took the facial reconstruction before they were linked. It shouldn't have had to come to that. Find a body, you looked at all the people that have been reported missing, anyone matches that description, similar age, just being a woman, test them, DNA test them. Why was that not done? No, I don't understand why that wasn't done. This woman should have been identified so much sooner. I know it doesn't make any difference to the ultimate. The ultimate fact is she's not with us anymore. But her family have worried about her for longer than maybe they should have had to worry about her. She was there all the time. She was found last year, deceased. And her family, it was not matched up. How irritating, terrible. And it was only after the finally, at least they did that. Did the facial reconstruction, and a family member recognised her. But now it turns out that there was a missing persons report out for her. So I was starting to think about this lady that, maybe she was trafficked, maybe she was Eastern European, and she had no family in the UK. Why had nobody reported her missing? This is what I was thinking. But she was reported missing. God. Anyway, fly free, Laura. Hope you're at peace. I hope they find out what happened to you, especially if it was foul play. It's not clear at the moment what it was, but bless her. At least she has been identified. Her family know they'll be able to, claim her remains, give her a proper send-off, say goodbye in a respectful manner, all those things. But I do think 100% that this woman should have been identified earlier, and the family could have been put out of their misery much earlier, I think. But anyway, nothing can be done now, just enough, I suppose, to know that they do know where she is now. And they, as I say, they can take her home, put her to rest. Okay, so one more story to tell you about. Hi, Jean. We're going to be talking about. So that was I know it's depressing, obviously, when anyone is deceased, but it's a positive note that she has now been identified and given a name. Now we're going to look at another, what I think is a positive story. I do feel that you will probably agree with me, which is that Mick Phillpott, do we remember him? Murdered 6 of his children. But having said that, although it's a positive story, because what's happened is he's been attacked in prison. He's in prison. A lot of you, I think most of you maybe, but this was a big case, wasn't it, in the UK? This shameless Mick, 6 children, died in a house fire where it turned out that actually he had set it deliberately. Maybe not deliberate. I think it is fair to say probably did not intend to kill the children. His intent was to set the fire, save the children, become a hero, get a bigger council house. Mick Phillpott is a grifter of the worst order, a man who never worked really, never wanted to work, just kept on having children, getting more benefits, bigger house, council house, and was running out of room yet again in his council house. What never fails to amaze me, though, about this case is the women that he could attract. Women loved him. Now, something as well that's important to remember about Mick, even before this happened, he had attacked an ex-girlfriend severely, nearly murdered her. He should have been in prison years. You know, this is a man who wasn't even fit to walk among society. But for some unknown reason, women, especially his wife married, just adored him, thought he was brilliant, thought he was great. He was on the Jeremy Kyle. He was a bit of a minor celebrity. He was on the Jeremy Kyle show. He was in a documentary with Anne Widdecombe talking about his lifestyle, and she tried to get him out working. And of course, he only wanted to work when the cameras were on him. As soon as the cameras were off him, he never went into work again. You know, this man, and although I think, you know, he says he didn't intend to kill his children, but afterwards he was loving all the attention as well. You know, he's just loving it. He's just a psychopath. He had no empathy for these 6 children who lost their life that night. Absolutely dreadful man. And his accomplices, of course, were his wife, May Reid. Now, do you know that May Reid Phillpott, she's out now. She's been released already. She was complicit in this. And the other guy, Paul Mosley, this guy here, his best mate, he's out as well. You know, they were complicit in all of it, and they've been released. Bye, Tracy. Have a nice day. Let me just take Rachel's picture off. So just unbelievable, isn't it? That this man, crocodile tears. You watch any documentary about, you know, so-called crocodile tears, you know, murderers crying when really they knew what had happened. He's on all of them because he was dabbing away at his hands, like you can see on the pictures. No tears. Just, this tissue. And her though. Look at her. To me, she is a total psychopath. May Reid, who is now out and walking amongst us, she is a complete psychopath as well. She just did whatever he told her. But I don't feel of her as a victim. She's not a victim. She wasn't scared of him. She loved him. She adored him. She would do anything he said, even though it put her own children in danger. That to me, she's just horrible, awful woman. All of them are awful. I can't believe that those 2 are out. 6 children died. Those 2 are out. Mick Phillpott himself, he'll be out soon. Well, he'll be up for parole soon in a couple of years. He got the shortest sentence. Let's see, was it 16 years or 17 years? It was nothing for 6 children. You know, let's let that sink in for a minute. He murdered 6 of his own children. And he received, I think it's 17 years minimum or something like that. Said, he's jail for life. Jail for life. It's not fucking life. Excuse my French. Life is not 16 years. 15 years. A minimum term of 15 years imprisonment. Bear in mind, this is a violent man who's also committed another atrocity earlier in his life against a woman who tried to finish with him. He tried to kill her. He thought he'd killed her. Just lucky for him, she didn't die. So he's been described by a psychologist as a psychopath and exhibitionist with antisocial personality disorder. He's got a history of domestic violence. Yeah. So he attempted to murder his girlfriend of 2 years, Kim Hill, her name was, or is, and she was only 15 when their relationship started. He shot her in the groin. He'd cracked her kneecap with a hammer. He shot her in the groin with a crossbow. He's one of them crossbow creeps. So he stabbed her over a dozen times while she was lying in bed. This is his ex-girlfriend from years ago, because she was trying to leave him. And he also stabbed her mother when she tried to help her. So his girlfriend suffered collapsed lungs and a punctured bladder, kidney and liver. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison and he was released after 3 years and 2 months. God, do you know what? I mean, this is, human life has no value, does it? Or little value in Britain. Honestly, it really feels like that. You would rob a bank, you would get more than 3.5 years. He got 3.5 years for doing all that to his ex-girlfriend. And for murdering 6 of his children, he's got 15 years minimum. 15 years. Good God, that's not even 3 years per child. Just makes you so angry, doesn't it? And then, so in the meantime, May Reid, she's free. She's got a new identity. Yeah, here she is. She's got a completely new identity. She'll be protected, but she's walking free. These are the 6 children who died. Dwayne, John, Jack, Jesse, Jade and Jaden. Bless them. Now, I've got some pictures of her. Yeah, she'll be given a new identity. She got a convoy to keep her safe as she was taken to a halfway house. No, she's like, just being cosseted. And the other guy, he's out as well. Right, where's those pictures I had of her? I had some photos of her when she was released. Just disgusting, honestly. She's living her life. Just awful. But anyway, there was some photos of her. Oh, I can't find them now. I did have them. I think they were in the Daily Mail. There it is. So, evil mother Mick Phillpott enjoys a shopping trip after being freed from prison less than halfway through 17-year jail term for killing her 6 children in a house fire. So why has she been released? She got a 17-year sentence. So a woman convicted of the manslaughter of her 6 children in a horrific house fire has been spotted enjoying a shopping trip. She needed help stuffing a grey Peugeot full of items, including wrapping paper, as she left a bail hostel in the south of England. The 39-year-old was sporting a new darker hair colour following her release from prison in November after half of her prison sentence. So that was in 2021. So she's still young. She's only, she don't look too clever, I'll say that. There you go, my reader. I don't think prison's really been very good for you. So she's dyed her hair black, but she's got the nice white roots. State of her. She's probably still in contact with Mick. She was absolutely besotted by Mick. She is the exact epitome of a covert narcissist. So she's like a passive-aggressive, just hanging on Mick's every word. Everything Mick asked her to do, she did, even at the expense of her own children. Horrible, horrible woman. I hope, honestly God, I hope you're having a miserable life, my Reid. I really do. So, yeah, I mean, what have you got on? Oh, you're still wearing your wedding ring. Is that a wedding ring? It's not on the wedding finger, having said that, so maybe not. State of it. Yeah. So, you know, don't know who this poor woman is, but I'll tell you what, if that would be me, I wouldn't be very happy about my photo. A photo like that being put all over the newspapers. State of it. Yeah. Oh, you're going to have a nice Christmas. Oh, there you go. Oh, someone in a dressing gown there. I mean, they really know how to dress up, these people, don't they? They really know. They really know how to, you know, how to look good. Oh, mind you, I hope nobody ever gets a photo of me when I'm putting my rubbish out. You don't look at the state. So we've got my read looks like Morticia. Got a woman in a white bathrobe. And then we've got the other woman who I do feel a little bit sorry for her because, you know, most unflattering photos. Have you ever seen more unflattering photo? You know, oh God. But you see, that's what happens when you hang around with child killers. Because when you hang around with people who murdered their children, and not only that, because as I said, maybe I shouldn't use the word murder, it was classed as manslaughter. But, you know, it wasn't that she was upset afterwards. You know, they just covered up for it for ages. And then she was shagging him and his friend, you know, just having a great time while her children were lying on the mortuary slab. Everybody else cared about the children more than they did. So I can't feel sorry for this woman having these, you know, I'm sorry, you know, get on a Slimming World diet or something, because if you're going to hang around with my read, you are going to get your photo taken at unflattering moments. So if I were you, I'd try and look good every time you step out of the house. Try anyway. Sorry, you know what? I don't mean to be nasty. I don't like being nasty, but this woman, I'm so angry with her, and really anyone that associates with her. You know, what sort of a woman is she, and what sort of a person are you that you think it's okay to associate with someone like this? Have you even seen the story? Have you seen her interviews afterwards where she was pretending to cry? She did not give a shit about her own children. She was telling lies left, right, and centre. So she's not someone who came clean. It was a terrible mistake. You know, we were trying to get a bigger house. No, all she cared about was Mick and her sex life. Oh dear, these poor children. These poor children. They all look like him, don't they? It's a shame. And the school teacher said they were all lovely children. They were polite, you know, despite being dragged up by this horrible person. They were lovely kids. Look, yeah, so everybody else cared about these kids except the parents. God. So a source told The Sun she's been eased back into life in the community. If she continues to comply with her probation requirement, she'll be able to slip back into life somewhere largely undetected. She's very much hoping for a fresh start. So she'll have had a new identity. She'll have been given somewhere to live, no doubt, benefits sorted out. You know, there you go. That's your reward for murdering 6 children. That's what you get for for murdering or killing 6 children. New identity, new house, benefits, you know, new friends. So my read was said to be delighted at being given her earliest possible release date. She was under curfew, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I mean, come on. Talk about shameless. State of it. There you go. Well, I just hope she has a miserable life. I really do. I don't believe she thinks about her children. She didn't think about them just after it happened, so she's not going to be thinking about them now. Horrible. Horrible woman. Anyway, I'm going to be going into this case more deeply. Oh, but I haven't even told you yet what happened to Mick. So the good news is, with a bit of luck, maybe, you know, anyway, Mick's, I'm not going to say that, shouldn't say it. So Mick is a lot older than her. Like, she was only, what, about 40, 39. Mick is older. I think he's coming up to 70 now, Mick, so he won't have done well in prison. But he's said to have been left battered and bruised after being attacked by fellow lags behind bars. He was allegedly targeted by another inmate who was armed with a metal container. A source told The Sun Phillpott was in a bad way after the attack, battered and bruised with 2 large noticeable lumps on the back of his head. Oh, diddums. Diddums. The other lad pounced on him and whacked him quite a few times from behind. One bloke on his own, someone quite a bit younger than Phillpott, and it happened really quickly on the landing. There was a huge commotion as guards rushed to calm the situation, but they told the publication that Phillpott, who was convicted of 6 counts of manslaughter, could have come off a lot worse in the attack. He was serving his sentence in the same jail that has held some of the 68, some of Britain's most notorious criminals, including serial killer Dr. Harold Shipman and double child murderer Ian Huntley. And the Mirror reports that the arson attack committed by Phillpott in Allington, Derby, killed Dwayne 13, Jade 10, John 9, Jack 7, Jesse 6, and Jaden 5. So, and of course, the other thing that they planned to do was frame his ex-partner, because at one point he had 2 women living in that house with him, with the other kids. Didn't he have about 15 kids in total? Don't know, I've lost count, but and she left him. He then tried to kill himself. Shame he didn't manage it. Which, you know, my read, then she tried to do herself in because she was upset that Mick cared about the other woman. And anyway, we're going to be going into all that in another video. But they planned to emerge as heroes after rescuing the children. And in the wake of the fire, the shameless Phillpotts held a press conference, appearing to break down in despair at their loss of their children. But police discovered it was all a sham, I think they mean there, when they bugged a hotel room and heard them admit their guilt. So he'll be eligible for parole in 2028. That's only 3 years away. So there you go. But at least, yeah, good. I hope they give him a rotten time in prison. I really, really hope they give him an absolutely rotten time. And I hope that my Reed is having a rotten life. I honestly do. Hi, Lisa J. I just, you know, you just cannot help, you know, the best will in the world. And there is, to me, this is one of those cases. There are no extenuating circumstances. You know, things happen. Maybe they didn't plan to kill the children. But just the way that they covered up, you know, it's not even so, you know, what happened? Do they say, oh, it was a mistake, it was a mistake? Yeah, well, then admit your mistake. And there they went, not only accusing someone else of doing it. Let's see if we'll just watch their press conference to finish, I think, just so we remember. But I will be doing a deep dive on this. I mean, I remember it. I think we all remember it, don't we? This press conference. And if you didn't see it then, you've probably seen it since, because it's always held up as an example of crocodile tears, you know, in a press conference. You know, the police, they get people to go and make press conferences, don't they, in the hope that they'll give themselves away. Let's just watch this before we finish.
First of all, I want to thank my 3 oldest children.
Look at her.
Because they helping us to cope with what's going on. And then there's a young lad called Daniel Stevenson who tried to get in the house, the same as myself, Joe across the road, and the Butler brothers. And of course, there's the 4 firemen,
The state
the
of her.
police, the ambulances, the doctors, the nurses, literally.
But she thinks just screwing her face up, no tears, holding a tissue up is going to make it look as if she really cares.
Everybody who tried to help save our children, they couldn't.
No tears.
Oh,
Excuse me a minute. Tissue. Yeah, oh, yeah, just give me a minute. Oh.
You have enough? We decided.
I think either that same night, the night before, or the next night, she was having a gangbang with him and his friend. You know, so she wasn't that upset, really, was she?
That through our son Dwayne, unfortunately the last one to pass away, that we're going to donate his organs to save another child, which is what we want. Because
yeah, he's so good.
if you save another child, that makes us happy. It takes a bit of the pain away.
Oh, what heroes you are. What heroes you are.
And
donating
we can't express our gratitude to everybody that's been concerned with the case, with what's been going on. I've actually been down to our home, and what we saw, we just cannot believe it. We grew up in a community that's had a lot of problems with violence and God knows what else, and to see this community to come together like they have, it's just too overwhelming. We've had people from them.
You know, the people that helped to take those children out of that house who are dead, they were traumatized for life. And look at her just pretending to cry. And as I say, yeah, she was enjoying herself having some sort of threesome with him and his mate around this time. She doesn't care. He doesn't care. They're probably just thinking, oh, we'll definitely get a new house now.
America, France, even the traveling community, it's just, we've been to see them, it's just overwhelming, isn't it? But I say I can't express enough.
And when they booked their phone calls, he was saying to her, did you cry? Did you cry? Did you cry? You know, he told her everything to do. Terrible.
The police, the fire brigade and the ambulance services, because what we feel, them poor gentlemen from the fire brigade saw what we've seen. You know, my heart goes out to them, because it's not just us that's suffering, it's them as well. It's everybody.
Oh.
But there's one thing I would request is please leave my family alone. If you've got any questions or anything at all, please don't come through me or my family. Please go to the police, because what's happening at the moment, you're disrupting what these officers are trying to do. So please, I beg you,
where's the
leave us alone and let us try and do it in peace and quiet. That's all I ask.
Peace and
Thank
quiet. Peace and quiet. Yeah, please leave us in peace and quiet. That's all I ask. So that we can have a gangbang with my mate. Do whatever we want. Oh, God. Okay. Hi, Annie. Oh, nearly finished now, Annie. You'll have to do your replay. Just finishing now, because I'm just off to work as well, Annie. So we'll be working together. So listen, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for caring about all, you know, that's a lot that we've talked about. As I say, I am going to split this video probably later on. You know, we've talked about all these people, you know, a lot of people that we've talked about. I'm going to split this video later on into smaller videos because each of these things that I've talked about, they all deserve an individual video really, but I just didn't have time to, and I just thought, well, I'll do a live talk about all of them, but I will be covering Rachel Morin's trial as it goes on over these next 2 weeks. I mean, all of them I'll be giving updates, of course. And I will be doing a deep dive on the Phillpotts quite soon. And yeah, updates on the other cases as and when they come in. So, thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourself. Remember to look after you, because you are the most important person. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye. Oh, and by the way, please remember to like and subscribe, of course, if you're not already subscribed. Thank you. Bye.